It is time for another episode of One Soccer Today, and Christmas has come early, if you do ask me, because we have a special guest on the show on his big day. Mauro Eustaquio joining Gareth Wheeler, Jordan Wilson, and yours truly, Adam Jenkins. Mauro has just been named as the fourth head coach in York United Football Club history. First of all, Jordan Wilson, Gareth Wheeler, please join me. Round of applause for Mauro Eustaquio. Congratulations.
Go on.
Well
Go
deserved.
on.
You are going to be so stuck with us over this year and hopefully a lot longer that I hope your debut isn't too painful. But Mauro, let's just dive right into it. I mean, the excitement of this opportunity. You had that cup of coffee with your as the head coach. I know you know this team. As Benjamin Moore was I think in the stands, and you were on the touchline for 2 matches, and then you shifted back to the assistant coach role. But now this club is yours under Jorge. As well. But what's going through your mind this exciting day as you think of what this journey has been for you and your family?
Obviously, number one, thank you guys for having me. I think this journey has started a while ago. I've been with the club now going on to my 4th year. I've been through a lot of interesting chapters at the club when we've had ownership, no ownership, and now we seem to have a very clear image of where we want to go, how we want to do it, and it's very exciting. Obviously, I'm thankful for the trust deposited in me through the ownership and Jorge, and like you said, I think this is home for me. To be honest, I think this is a club that has seen me grow, has shaped me up to become now the head coach at York United, and there's a lot to be said. I think there's I believe a lot in people. I believe a lot in culture, and I've been through some episodes here at the club, and that just makes me that much more emotionally attached and responsible of what I want to do with the club and how I want this club to grow. So it's very exciting. I know there's a lot of work up still to do, and I'm ready for the challenge, and then I'm happy with it.
Brilliant. It's not easy for Canadian coaches to get this kind of opportunity with very little, just opportunity for Canadian coaches to step in a job like this. So, what was your pitch? What was your sales pitch? What made you the right man for this job?
I mean, I just pitch my passion. I think I'm someone that, like you said, I think this job came through and the opportunity came and kind of passed by me. It was my choice, my willingness, my commitment to either jump onto the bus or not step in. And I think I've created an image and a mindset that I knew that I wanted to become a head coach at some point in my early career. And I think this is the perfect club for it. I've obviously been passionate towards Canadian football. I've been I've been in a lot of cities with soccer in Canada. I was with Ottawa at early stages of my playing career. I went through Edmonton, stopped by Calgary, and now I'm here in Toronto with York. So it's good to see that Canada is now giving not only the opportunity to young players and to old players or older players to continue their profession, to continue giving out their craft to this beautiful sport. But now, to become a head coach at this young age and kind of went through the whole cycle. It feels good. It's rewarding. I know I have a lot of ex teammates and a lot of colleagues that are in the similar shoes than myself, but it's good to see that the sport is growing. It's good to see that the Canadian Premier League is now providing opportunities for people that are ready to commit, are ready to grow, and that are ready for these type of challenges.
Yeah, your passion comes across, so does your knowledge. It's really in your blood, isn't it? The game. But when you step away from playing, I mean, people like yourself have multiple decisions, potential decisions about how you want to stay in the game. Why was coaching the way for you? And maybe you can walk us through what that journey was like and what it's like for a young Canadian player turned coach to go through the gauntlet in order to get an opportunity like this.
I've always considered myself a student of the game. Even while I was playing, I was always someone, of why are we doing this? Why aren't we doing this way? Why are we not doing it that way? So I was always someone that, always tested my teammates, tested coaches at times. It was always in a very respected way. So, I look at myself as someone that has always been involved in football and soccer. At a young age, I started playing. I traveled pretty much the world, following this dream to be involved in it. And to be honest, I don't think I know how to do many other things. So to be involved in soccer and to be able to coach, to be able to now implement the ideas that I want to see in a team, to how I want to mold a mindset, and create a culture is something that is very exciting, and I'm really willing to do so.
Mauro, delighted for you. You look at the situation that you're in now. You were with Martin Nash, got to learn from under him, obviously at Calgary as well, but now at York United, and then you had a season with Benjamin Mora. I know your style of football. I kind of figure I know what you would like to play, but how does your style of football and York United's long-term vision, where does that mesh? Like, how is that moving forward in 2025?
I think obviously my style of play. I think I'm a big believer in work. I mean, that's going to be the foundation of everything. I think it's easy for me to come out here and say, oh, we want to score a lot of goals, we want to be front footed, we want to be offensive, we don't want to concede, we want to win. I think if you ask any coach, that would be pretty much their whole pitch. But the biggest thing for me is I'm a workaholic. I like to work. I like to get my hands dirty. I think there has to be a big mindset of discipline and work. I think that's going to be our base. Obviously, going to put the players in the right positions and the right ways that we want to play for them to succeed. At the end of the day, I can't be asking one player to do A when he can only do B. So it's the scouting process that has been already underway, that we want to make sure that we get the right people in the locker room to then be able to implement what I want as a game model. So again, I think the base here is going to be work, is going to be having the right mindset, and that's something that we've been creating over the past year. And I think that's very very clear to people that are outside of the club, that this club has been making steps forward, and that started with the mindset. So creating that culture of hard work and excitement football, it's something that we'll be wanting to show.
I know you have a dozen or over a dozen players that played last season that their contract is up. And I just thought this would probably be the best time now that you've just been appointed to just let you know that I am available. Leon would have to give me the number 4 though. I'm not playing for you and a different number and all that stuff. Leon has to pick up number 5 or whatever. It could be 3. I don't care. But number 4 is mine. All jokes aside, what is your biggest priority? I know you're talking about
not
work
joking.
rate.
He's not joking.
Like,
He's just saying that so he doesn't get a tampering phone call from the commissioner.
I'm 20%
Like, I need to change my pitch here.
I'm
That's
like,
right.
the thing is, I was waiting to see if Mauro bit. If he was like, yeah, I'd love to have you, but he's like, nah, you're done, bro. He's like, I want people that will work and you just talk.
I watched Scrosapi do a bit last season. We're well past that.
He's like, no. But all jokes aside, like, what seems to be your main priority in terms of getting the ball rolling for 2025 in terms of selection?
I think now it's just really looking into details now, obviously with the contracts and the players' mindset of who wants to be here, who wants to continue this project. I'm a big believer that teams are built from back, looking up. So making sure that we have a solid foundation of who we want to be on that back line, obviously making sure that we're secure, and then moving forward, we know the tools, we know who we want to kind of go for and what the type of player that we're looking at. And again, I think the biggest thing for me is people that want to be here. So those conversations will start here in the next couple weeks. But again, just got a lot of cleaning up to do, a lot of polishing up to do. But our road is quite clear. We know exactly where we want to go. Now we just got to get to work.
See you in January, coach. See you in January.
For an interview.
Quick trial. Very quick trial. I'd be remiss, Mauro, not to ask you about Shola. I know Jordan asked about a roster and how you and Jorge will work through that this offseason, but we know that Shola Jima will be a part of the plans, barring some surprise sale that we've not heard about. But let's talk about the young man and what he was able to do last year. You talk about work being a key foundation to what you appreciate as a coach. It seems like that young man has it in spades, let alone a desire to improve, a nose for goal. Each of you this season have had a chance to have that national team camp experience and bring that back to York United. Just, I guess, anywhere you want to start on Shola Jimo, because I think he is probably the supporters in the club's most exciting prospect and aspect of what's going on in Toronto right now.
No, I think, listen, Shola is someone that is very he's very unique. I think the kid has the right mindset. He obviously has the quality to show up and compete. It doesn't matter against who, it doesn't matter where. That mindset that he's brought into the locker room at a very young age. Shola was always the first one out, and it wasn't necessarily the first one, trying to pass a ball or keep ups or whatever it was. Shola was the first one ready to. I know I'm young. I know I need to bring the balls out. I know I need to get the nets ready. I know I'm ready to be here and to be professional. So
Grassroots.
that mindset, it's hard to find. It's hard to find, and that just speaks so highly of him. And when you add that type of mentality of I know where I am, I know what I have to do, and I know who I have to be, to I'm still going to perform. I'm still going to be the first one, to go at older players, to go at better, whatever it is. I think that just speaks so highly of him. And I think, believe Jordan, you were involved at that point when it was his first training sessions, a 15-year-old at that time coming at you, trying to dribble, crossing over guys, going on 1v1s. And he was getting kicked around. He was falling. He was getting tripped. He was getting bullied, but he never said a word. And he gained his respect. He gained new tools by just getting up and going again, getting up and going again. So again, as a human being, he's fantastic. He's hungry. That mindset is something that has to keep on going. The potential is there, but he's not a full player yet. So it's now up to us to continue to give him tools to excel. It's up to us to continue to be that trampoline, because at the end of the day, we know the quality that he has. We know there's a lot of sharks out there, but he needs to continue performing. He needs to continue performing, and we want to be that trampoline and provide him with as much as we can.
Well, he absolutely has some bite, as do other players in the squad as well. I thought you guys had a really good season at York United. But at the end of the day, Mauro, it's not just a York United problem. It's a rest of the Canadian Premier League problem that, once again, at the end of the day, we saw Forge and Cavalry 1-2 right at the top, winning the regular season and winning the North Star Cup. How do you plan on closing the gap, or how do you close the gap? Is it through recruitment? Is it through coaching? Is it through what is going to be the secret sauce, the secret ingredient in order to allow you to close that gap between those two teams?
I think it's a little bit of everything. I think if we focus on what the others are doing, I think we might lose track on what we want to build and who we want to be. I think York United, due to multiple aspects at times, didn't have really an image. We didn't really know who we were. So I think the biggest thing for us now is to continue building on what we've done in the last year. I think it's now to continue to implement, to gain that sustainability, that continuity that clubs like York, that Forge have, clubs like Cavs have. But I think if we start looking and kind of copying what other clubs are doing, I think we might lose track, and we don't want to be wannabes, if that makes sense. We want to be York United. We want to be a club with a culture. We want to be a club with a direction. And due to the ownership and obviously Jorge as well, we see that. We see that what the image is. We know exactly where we want to go. Is it going to be easy? No. Is there going to be a lot of work involved? Yes. But at the end of the day, I think that's something that we've been doing. A lot of people were texting me, "Oh, congratulations! Now the work starts." I was like, the work has been going. I think this club has been really well oiled up now for a good year, and the work doesn't stop. The work just continues. We can do always more, and that's what we're going to be pushing towards. So I think the focus here is us. The focus here is creating our monster, and continue on taking those steps forward.
Good
Well,
answer.
Mauro, we know
Polished. That's good.
he's already a professional
ready.
at dealing with the one.
He's
soccer
ready.
group.
Ready.
Mauro, we know what an incredible roller coaster 2024 has been for you and your family, and we just wanted to say we are elated for you. We are over the moon that it gets to end on such a high, and next year we will be seeing you a whole bunch and asking you a bunch of questions you don't want to answer, and we cannot wait to continue to build that relationship with you. And just truly on behalf of all of us at One Soccer, congratulations on the hire.
Congrats, brother.
And 2025 will be even better for you and the family.
Perfect. No, listen, I'll be here for that. I appreciate once again the congratulations and chatting. And Jordan, I'll text you here in a bit.
All right, get him off the screen.
Bro,
Get him
I
off the
saw the
screen, Ollie, before
I saw
this
the
goes
sign.
downhill.
I started
Mauro
doing crunching.
Eustaquio, the fourth head coach
Headers up there.
in
I'll
York
see you guys,
United
coach.
history.
All right, guys. Thank you. Have a good one.
Say, Mauro. Cheers.
Cheers, Mauro.
Bye.
That,
I'm going to
by
send
the
in
way,
my
with Jordan
tape as
Wilson
well.
will be
The
clipped.
way that we
and
work
used
in studio.
against him.
Get me in.
What a day November 21st has turned into for Canadian
pivot.
Premier League coaches Gareth Wheeler and Jordan Wilson, because just as we are preparing to interview Mauro Eustaquio, we had a surprise email land in our respective inboxes, and that was news out of the nation's capital, and that is that there will be no return to the CPL for Carlos Gonzalez in 2025. He and Atletico Ottawa have mutually agreed to part ways. Jordan, let's go with you first. Reaction to the news, and do you think this was the right move for both manager and club to have a bit of a fresh start?
So 1A, reaction to the news is you could see it coming. I think you could see it on his mannerisms, him being Carlos Gonzalez when he talked to our very own Christian Jack when they lost to Forge at Tim Hortons Field at the end of the season, that semifinal game. You could see it on him. The thing with Carlos Gonzalez is it sucks for a manager because it's always the lasting impression, right? 2022, when the vibes were right and they won the Shield and they got to play in a final, everyone was talking about Carlos Gonzalez, and yeah, maybe it was a mundane style, but he got the most out of his group. I don't think many people could argue with that. Then finishing sixth last season, you're like, oh, pump the brakes. Are you going to bring him back? Carlos Gonzalez and the Atletico Ottawa family knew at that point, this 2024 season, with the team that they built, what they invest in them, they had to go on and win something, or at least to compete for something. So if you fall out, I know it's against a Ford side that people would argue were better, but the fact that you lost and you didn't win anything, that is enough, like, to know that, hey, this is time to part ways. I still think he did an incredible job at the time that he was there. But yeah, I think this is fair to say they're going to go in a new direction, specifically as well with what they're adding. I know a new CEO for Atletico Ottawa, players that are top in the league. I think it's time to go a different direction.
I'm disappointed this didn't work out and last longer, to be honest with you. I like Carlos, and I think he's a really good coach. He came in 2022 and took a very young club, just in terms of a team looking for their identity, and he took them to win a regular season title. Like, that was quite the accomplishment at that time, and he just had the sense he was going to build from there, but it's kind of stalled out a little bit, hasn't it? Like, I'll say this, though. The way the season started, I would not have predicted that this was going to be coming. The team didn't lose in the Canadian Premier League till June 15th. June 15th. And they looked really good doing it. They were dominating teams. They were progressive. They came up with some like real standout performances as well. Then do you know what happened? This is where I diagnosed, during the season, we kind of diagnosed that they played this stretch of 3 games against York, Forge, and Cavalry, lost all 3. And then all of a sudden, Carlos, put up the emergency break. I think it happened before that. Getting dumped out the way they did out of CanChamp to Pacific, I think did lasting damage, because those games were played in such a defensive, cagey, pragmatic way. It kind of took Ottawa back to where they were. And it was like almost muscle memory. And they ended up losing that tie. And then from there, it just seemed like they were unsure with who they were. And I agree with Jordan. This team, the sum of the parts should have been much greater than the output at the end. 3rd place, but it was 3rd place. And you never kind of believed in it coming down the stretch. It was hard to believe in this group. and they had a chance, a real chance against the Ford side in the playoffs, who were nowhere near full strength, and they had a chance to take it to them, and they decided not to. That was a calculated decision that Carlos made. Even the previous round against York, then the writing was on the wall. Like, he was just unwilling to budge and move and change the way that this team was going to play. I think it'll be for the betterment of the club, particularly the match going fans who continue to come out and watch this team play despite the football at times. I said it before, I'll say it again, being boring. These aren't boring players. They need to evolve. They need to adapt. Yes, they can be that athletic, defensive, cagey, hard to beat style. But even Atletico Madrid, well, if you watch them right now, they're a really watchable team in terms of their attacking football as well. So you need to strike the right balance. I feel bad for Carlos that he ends up leaving. I would have loved to have seen him stay, but I think the way that the last few months played out, that the writing was on the wall.
Jordan, what do you think in terms of the next steps for this club? They said in the press release that these searches obviously underway already for the next head coach, working with Ottawa and delegates or representatives from Madrid. Gareth speaks to the parking brake and the attacking football that the team seems suited to play. Would you agree that that type of manager is what's needed next in the nation's capital?
Yeah, I mean, outside of what I think, and Wheels and I and yourself, Jenko, like we watch every game. I think you could see it on the players. I think players as well are asking, like, look, unleash us. Like, can we have a unit that goes forward? And if you go forward and crash out in a second place, whatever. But I think they're all in that capital, and the capital of this beautiful country. They're waiting to go forward, and they just need to be unleashed. So I think there will be some changes. A big change already with Atletico Ottawa is Juan Miguel Vega Francis coming in as well for CEO, and used to be at Club Puebla, sorry, as a former player and now a former executive. So I think already you're looking at changes within front office. You're gonna whoever they sign as a manager to come in, they're gonna play progressive football. I can't see a world where someone comes in and is defensive minded and similar to Carlos. You're gonna want someone who is different and progressive. I think that's what this team needs to go and challenge.
Yeah, again, Atletico Madrid is a really watchable team right now. Like, they play aggressive, they have a lot of talented players. Need to be able to strike that balance. I want to see a team that presses, uses the players that they have. Ollie Bassett leaving, although he's a really, really good player, there might be a little bit more clarity in terms of roles in that team and what they have to build around. So perhaps that gives them more of an option. Again, the way that the team was built, Jordan Wilson said it from the beginning. There was a lot of cooks in that kitchen, right? So role definition, identity. The next manager is going to have to make sure that this team and the people that are just making the decisions on what players are brought in just need to play to their strengths. This club has incredible potential. The fans are great, and what the fans think matter as well, and they deserve good football as well. So, look, I think sky's the limit here. Through change, which is always difficult, maybe can come a better product or a better ending.
They're very close. Like they're not
They're
far
close.
off at all. They're very
Yep,
close.
I
They're a
agree.
balanced team. They can keep the core and add one or two more gems. Yeah, they could compete for sure.
It's going to look different in the nation's capital in 2025. No Ali Bassett, no Carlos Gonzalez, as Jordan mentions, a new CEO. And it is the third week of November, and we've had 2 CPL coaching changes already. We'll see
Did we have one
the
last year, Adam?
remaining
Did we have one
6.
last year?
No.
I don't think.
Zilch.
Yeah. How many
Wait,
more?
because we had
How many
that's
more?
what I was about to
Yeah.
ask the question, if we should set an over under for how many
One
more.
more.
Maybe one,
take the over.
maybe
Two.
two. Interesting.
Two. I like
Interesting to
two.
keep an eye on.
Three?
A story that we will continue to
3?
follow. 3. Get out of here with
Two,
that,
two,
Jordan
two.
Wilson. Get out of there with
Could
that.
be.
3. Let's
Could
get to
be.
today's Visa Women's Football Report. The Visa Women's Football Report. Canada has named its roster for the upcoming friendlies against Korea Republic and Iceland, 2 top 20 nations in the world. Both matches will be played in Spain, and Cindy Tai will be the interim head coach of this group through the Canadian U20 program and the Dalhousie University Tigers. Jordan Wilson, when you look at this roster, I don't think it takes very long for you to realize there are a lot of new names here. Of course, a litany of injuries, let alone a couple of players unavailable unavailable through personal reasons, a la Jordan Heidema. But when you look up and down this group, the average age is just 23 years old. You
Good.
see
Good.
names Eva Hernandez Gray, Janet O'Kane, Emma Regan, Lizzie Prue. Maybe we finally see her get a stop in goal. Nia Rose. It goes on. And Mimi Alidu, I think, thoroughly well deserves another call up. But with no Buchanan, no Lacasse, obviously it looks different in a few different spots. Are there any standouts for you here? Because the surprises, I think we kind of expected something like this, Jordan, just with the number of injuries this nation is currently dealing with.
Yeah, the injuries are huge, obviously, but you got to focus on. I've said many times watching this women's team that they're really not going to play a back four. I think they will now. I think you're looking at the team and who's fresh and who is known, and you're probably playing a Lawrence, Jill, Zadorsky, and then Gabby Carl on the left, the back four. But I think the highlight, and we just talked about this when we had our meeting as well. It's just one of those things where you look at this team and you need the younger players coming in. You need players that have had youth experience for Canada breaking into the squad. And hopefully over these two legs, you see players play like a Nia Rose up top or on the wing, and you have like a Janet Okeki in the back. Maybe she does well. You need to have players like that. Even looking at Geneva Hernandez Gray, like all these players have done well at the youth level. But what is that transition to women's football? You're looking at two 18-year-olds and a 19-year-old and Nia Rose. Like they need that time to really go and develop, but they need camps. They need experience. They need a coach to say, play me. They also need to earn their keep, right? And we just heard Mauro talk about Shola Jimo, like picking up balls and all that stuff. It's bigger than that, though, as well with younger players. It's just learning from the player that's playing your spot, the system, learning what it's like to travel and get your rest and all these things. You have to put them in that environment. And this is the time to do it. Like this, they don't have really consequential games for a while. This is the time to go and play these type of players.
Jordan or Gareth, you agree?
I got a couple of thoughts here. How many players named Rose are available for the Canadian women's national team?
Multiple, apparently. It's at
Jade.
least 3 now.
Put together a full bouquet. I want to see like 6, half dozen Roses playing for Canada. That'd be
fortunately for them. There's a team in Montreal called Les Roses as well now. Gareth.
There you go. Very popular flower. Beyond that, of more significance, they don't have a full-time manager. I don't know where they're going yet. So bring in younger players, provide the next manager with some tape, some reference points of young players getting opportunity to play. That's what it's about right now. That's it. Give some young players experience and let whoever the next manager go on and evaluate them. I will say this. I think this is a missed opportunity by the women's national team and the NSL, the Northern Super League. They should have named a player, signing in the Northern Super League, which went along with a call up to play in this window. Would have been great advertisement for both, great advertisement for the new Canadian top division women's league. And it would have been an opportunity to see that player put on the Canadian kit and go out and play. I really think this is a missed opportunity because these games are being played away from home, no new head coach, a lot of rotation in terms of players. I think this is a missed marketing opportunity, guys. Could have really made a statement here.
One more surprise for me, an absence. Clarissa
Larissy
scored a hat trick yesterday against Ajax, not included in this team. Maybe she needs a bit of a break, or they feel they've seen enough tape on her to leave her out for this window. Let's move on to today's tonybet top picks. Assigning 1 pick per pundit. So tonybet top picks. Gareth Wheeler, MLS Cup playoffs. LA Galaxy minus 157. Minnesota United and Dane St. Clair plus 340.
Galaxy to the moon. Galaxy on the handicap. The best odds, like honestly, anything that's Galaxy scoring 3 goals, you're going to get lots of plus money. Galaxy are the best team despite not even having played for 23 days.
Jordan Wilson, New York, New Jersey.
To the moon.
Red Bulls plus 200, NYCFC plus 160.
NYCFC are taking this one. They are.
By the skin of their teeth. says
We'll roll the
Coach
tape
Nate
later.
Wilson.
Closest matchup.
Listen, we had so much to get to today. We didn't get to all of it. Fortunately for you, a brand new episode of One Soccer Today will air tomorrow. So make sure you join us then. For Gareth Wheeler and Jordan Wilson and all of us at One Soccer, I've been Adam Jenkins.